Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Historical Humans Podcast. My name is Justin Woods, and I'm joined today by my fellow co-hosts, Colum Coleman and Aaron Gilpin. And today on Season 3, Episode 6, we are going to the Baltic. What? We're talking about some of the most interesting and wild series of European history.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
Wild, all right.
Our topic for you today, against all concept of human sanity, is the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth.
Is my idea.
Now, right here, I'm going to take a moment for a quick disclaimer. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth lasts for just over 200 years, and we are going to be talking about the whole of its history, and everything we mention is about 1,000 times crazier than the level of detail we are going to be able to get through.
So it lasted at least one America.
It lasted almost one America. It's about 20 years short at this point.
I only count things in bald eagles, sorry.
We will literally use anything but the metric system.
But so with that out of the way, and remember this for when things get absolutely insane. Let's jump right in. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was established on July 1st, 1569, or as it's otherwise known, 3 days early. And it lasted until 1795. Now, the basic background for this is that there was something called the Union of Lublin, which was the formal act to unify Poland and Lithuania into a single state. Now, Poland and Lithuania had been ruled as separate kingdoms under the same monarch since 1385. And if you're wondering how that works, what that basically means is there are two separate countries with separate armies, separate foreign policies, separate everything, but they both have to be run by the same person. It is ridiculously cumbersome, but it is a common happenstance in medieval Europe because everyone marries everyone else.
Gotta keep it in the family.
This will be a problem later.
Genetically speaking, or just in general?
Both.
In general, there becomes so much wrong with the royal family in just a minute. Now, Polish-Lithuania was established by King Sigismund II Augustus, who stood in the Eastern tradition of giving yourself a number and then a second name in case having that number didn't make you unique enough. Looking at you, James I and VI of England.
Hey now.
And the thing is, guess who didn't want this union?
Lithuania?
Poland and Lithuania did not want the union, especially Lithuania. Yeah.
Wait, so they both didn't want it.
Then how did it happen? Was the king just like come in and conquer?
Yep. Now, the reason for this was Lithuania wanted to remain separate because it was stronger than Poland at the time and wanted to remain the more important of the two children.
Okay, yeah, that tends to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. They more or less actively sabotaged an attempt to reach union in 1564. And it was only when the king personally annexed 1/3 of Lithuania as his own property that the union went forward.
How did he do that?
He is an absolute monarch in charge of two kingdoms. He can trade land as he pleases, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
It is really messed up, the level of politicking that goes into this 1569 trick. Now, the union was necessary because Russia.
Naturally. Not many things change.
Yeah. See, in 1558, a holy order in the territory of Livonia does not exist anymore. Basically went kaput.
And Livonia, that's Latvia and Estonia region, right?
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of part of both of them now, bits and pieces. Anyway, the long and short of it is Lithuania claimed Livonia as its sort of protectorate, its vassal state.
Yeah.
Muscovy, which is what Russia is going by at the time, said, "Hey, land west of me must be mine," and a massive war broke out for about what was it, 1558 to 1583, so about 25 years.
To be fair,
Shit.
nothing has changed.
No, nothing has changed at all.
Land west of me? Free real estate.
Yeah.
Well, now it's all
with
NATO.
with the Union,
Oh, shit, yeah.
yeah, definitely. With the Union, the Polish-Lithuanian militaries were unified, and they could thus defend their parts of Livonia and the rest of them from Russia. The capital moves from its historic place in Krakow to Warsaw, which I believe is the capital of Poland to this day.
Very important, clearly.
Yeah. It also made Polish-Lithuania one of the largest states of Europe. 400,000 square miles, 11 million inhabitants. It covered Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, parts of Russia, Belarus, Moldova, and Ukraine. They border Crimea.
Sheesh.
Oh, yeah.
You mean Crimea was not a historic part of this alliance?
Yeah, no. It's like literally they border like Germany and Crimea. That's how big this is.
It's a pretty large state.
Yeah. It also was very unique for being a multi-ethnic state. Poles, Lithuanians, Ruthenians, Germans, Jews, Tartars, Armenians, and even Scots. That's right. There is a high Scottish population in here, primarily consisting of wool traders.
Them
Hold on.
Scotsmen will go anywhere.
Fun fact: a number of reforms happened because the local Jewish and Lithuanian merchants are fighting openly with the Scot traders.
Naturally.
There's a number of things behind the scenes where there is just constant conflict.
That's interesting.
You've got a man in a kilt yelling at you over your wool prices.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It was also important to note that this is a multi-faith state. It had Catholics, Protestants, Eastern Orthodox, Jews, and Muslims all in significant numbers. This is very important because it was also one of the few religiously tolerant states at the time. Most of Europe is killing each other over which brand of Christianity you have. And Polish-Lithuania was just kind of like, why would we do that? Ever. The Compact of Warsaw in 1573 gives total religious freedom to all Christians. Some important exclusions right there you may have noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Will cause problems with the Ottomans later.
Can't imagine why that might be.
Could possibly bite them in the ass later.
Yeah.
And we love religious tolerance.
Yeah. And that is us speed running the concept of what in all hell this country is. And now we get to go through all of the people who ruled it and why it was terrible for everyone. We're going to start off with the man himself, Sigismund II Augustus. He ruled from 1548 or 1569 to 1572. He came into both thrones separately at 1548, unified them in 69, died 3 years later. So really no help from the man himself. He couldn't make it one presidential term.
Yeah, but at least he unified it and then he died.
Yeah.
Man just said, all right, did my job.
Yeah, I'm out. I got
going
my guy.
home.
Yeah. Now, one of his reasons for doing this was because Sigismund was known as an hairless monarch, meaning he has no male children.
I thought it was hairless for a hot second. I was like, he's bald? What? What's that got to do with it?
Hairless. Yeah. No, there's
We
a-
cannot be led by a bald man. He must
He's
have
clearly-
hair.
If he was blessed by God, he'd have luscious long locks.
Yeah. Now, his death ends the Jagiellon dynasty, which ruled Poland and Lithuania since they were first unified into a single crown but separate states in 1385. This dynasty is its own can of worms that we may have to cover later.
Oh no.
But it is regarded as one of the more prosperous dynasties of Europe. That's a really good bar, guys.
Isn't Jadwiga? Isn't she part of that dynasty?
I believe Jadwiga is part of the dynasty. I cannot say for certain. I did not look backwards for 200 years. I had to look forwards.
Fair.
From this point. Now, his death causes major problems. The Union is only 3 years old. The Lithuanians still hate it. The Poles and the Lithuanians still do not look at each other as any sort of countrymen. And there is no one to arbitrate the line of succession. Sigismund was the last male member of his house, meaning that there is no one in the government with authority to say, this is how this is going to go.
Awkward.
Yikes.
So Poland, Lithuania, being made up of all these, councils and having a lot of sort of very powerful nobility on account of the fact that it's been two separate countries this whole time, they come up with a unique idea. What if we elect the king?
Democratic, okay.
Yep.
Like they elect the Holy Roman Empire or Emperor, I guess.
It is similar. They hold an electrum viritum in 1573, and what this is it's an election in which all nobles and their squires can participate. So it is not limited to members of the Sejm, which is the my horrible pronunciation of the Polish-Lithuanian legislature. It's literally the entirety of the landed gentry gets to come out and decide who will rule them. The convention is assembled in Warsaw in April, and the factions form immediately.
Yeah.
Naturally.
There are 5 major candidates with 3 internal factions fighting over the throne. The first is the Lithuanian faction. Those people who got involved in this union because Russia was going to take them over otherwise. They put forth for their candidate none other than Tsar Ivan IV of Russia. There are a lot of reasons for that, none of which we have time to get into, but it's an insane story.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The entire reason they're here is so they don't get ruled by Russia, but here's their candidate, Russia.
I mean, I guess it would save them from being destroyed, just still under Russian rule, though.
Yep. Now, the second faction is the Polish Catholic clergy, because it's the 1500s. The Pope is involved in everything. They put forth Archduke Ernest of Austria, in the hopes that they will be able to, through him, convert the Protestant Lithuanians.
Wait, the Lithuanians are Protestant?
They are a combination of Protestant and Orthodox, whereas the Poles are Catholic.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that.
That was pretty obvious.
Orthodox.
The Poles are hella Catholic.
No, not the Poles. I mean the Lithuanians.
Yeah. Then there is what's known as the Szlachta, which were the Polish nobility. They favored anyone but a German. At this time, German included anyone who was Austrian or part of the Holy Roman Emperor or spoke anything that sounded remotely like what was spoken in Berlin.
Damn.
Now, these candidates included John III of Sweden and Henry of Valois. And this is where foreign interference steps in for us, ladies and gentlemen. See, the French diplomat arrives at this meeting. He's not expressly uninvited, so he just sort of shows up. And his name is Bishop Valence John de Monluc. And he proceeds to take the French treasury and bribe everyone involved in this election.
Understandable.
Oof. Okay.
And in so doing, he places Henry of Valois, Duke of Anjou, on the Polish-Lithuanian throne. He's formally elected May 11th, 1573. And the reason that the French want Henry on the throne is Henry is the brother of French King Charles.
Oh.
Specifically Charles X.
Powerful alliance.
Yeah. They see a great deal of power. It's a perfect time to smash the Habsburgs between the two of them.
Fuck the Habsburgs.
There are, however, a few concessions. See, in order to get Henry on the throne, the French had to agree to what is known as the Henrican Articles. Now, this is a constitutional reform that is wholly dependent on Henry's election as king. The first thing it does is it converts Poland from a limited monarchy, which would be a monarchy that has a council of powerful nobles like that it sort of answers to a formal republic headed by a monarch. Logic, people. Logic.
I mean, yeah. They really were just like, do we want republicanism? No, we want monarchy.
Yeah.
But
you know, it'd be a really big shame if he went through all this work just to not be a good king.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of effort put into this. Like, you have to have ruled for like 40 years afterwards.
Yeah. So, yeah. The conditions are, number one, the king shall forever be an elected position, meaning that Henry's kids don't take the throne on his death. When Henry dies, we have to hold another election. Number two, the Sejm, S-E-J-M, I cannot say this, which is the Council of Nobles that affect.
Oh no. And we're back. Sorry about that. The hotel Wi-Fi sucks.
Technical difficulties and dragons.
Yeah, wrong show, Aaron, but right sentiment. So the king is to be advised by a council of senators at all times. That's more noble government interference. Henry does not like these. And finally,
understandable.
Yeah. Finally, failure to abide by any principle is constitutionally, by the laws of Poland-Lithuania, to result in the immediate dissolution of the state back into Poland and Lithuania.
So, I don't like what you just said. We're done.
Yeah, basically, if the king fails to abide by any of the Henrican Articles, the country literally ceases to exist.
They have a nuclear option. Nice.
Yeah. And the fun fact about these articles is that they make Poland-Lithuania the only parliamentary state in Europe besides Britain. Everyone else is either a limited or a absolute monarch. Most of them are absolute monarchs.
Interesting.
Makes sense for Europe.
Yeah. Now, Henry gets on the throne, and he rules from 1573 to 1575. Whereupon, he flees Poland in the dead of night in order to claim the French throne, because it just so happens that his brother, Charlie X, dies.
Oh
so
my
this man
God.
didn't even stay on the fucking throne after bribing his way.
No, he formally abdicates after he gets back to France to become Henry III, King of France, as he would prefer to be an absolute monarch of France, than to be a limited monarch, a constitutional monarch here in Poland, Lithuania.
I mean, that's understandable. I do get it.
Yeah.
But also kind of shitty.
A little bit. You just are like, hey, yeah, I'm here, and then I'm gonna fuck off.
He causes a succession crisis by doing this,
Of course,
because he tells no one, and it's not until after he's crowned king of France that Poland realizes what's happened.
He's like leaves. It's like sending a breakup message via text, but instead it's like with a letter. And he's just like, "Oh yes, my royal subjects, I advocate. Sorry you had to find out this way. I hope we can still be friends."
He got on his horse in the night, rode like through Germany into France, and they find out about it when news comes to them via like the Pope.
That's kind of baller though. He's just like, yo, I got a better gig. Oh my god, he's like the employer that just quits his job and moves along.
Yeah. Now, in the interim, the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian II tries to just say, yeah, this is my throne now. The Slotsja in Poland tells him no, and they choose a man named Stephen Bathory to be king. Now, Stephen Bathory rules from 1575 to 1586. This is the first like stable monarch we have for this country.
And we're only getting started.
Yeah. Now, Bathory was chosen because he was Prince of Transylvania. And he had married one of Sigismund II's daughters, making him the son-in-law of the last legitimate king, because let's be honest, Henry doesn't really count at this point.
Yeah. Well, he bribed his way into it, so yeah, he's not legitimate.
Yeah. He spends the first 2 years of his reign at war with one of his provinces, Gdansk. Now, Gdansk was how Poland-Lithuania connected to the sea. It also bordered the Holy Roman Empire, and thus Maximilian II had kind of claimed it when there was no king of Poland.
And by claiming, you mean he just kind of marched his troops in, or
just
like
had
he bribed it to start listening to him and not Poland. It more or less began acting like one of the small semi-autonomous kingdoms and baronies of the Holy Roman Empire, and not like a province of Poland-Lithuania.
Naturally.
Yeah. Fun fact, for as powerful as Maximilian is, he is a decentralized monarch. His country is very decentralized, so becoming one of them basically just means you just go off and do your own thing and say screw you to your former boss.
That's not a bad gig of like, hey, we swear loyalty, fealty to you, but like we're just not gonna show up. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's most of how it is.
God damn.
Yeah. Now, Bathory proves himself to be a very good military commander, because it is under his reign that the Russian invasion of Livonia is finally repelled after 25 freaking years. He ends the Livonian War.
Wow, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. He reclaims he reclaims the entirety of Livonia from Russia, and he does it with a peasant army, just peasant infantry. He literally just gathers up every like person who can walk, gives them a pointy stick, and marches them into battle, and they win.
They usually will.
Yeah.
Peasants make some of the greatest armies, you know?
You mean cannon fodder?
Yeah. Look.
Well, no, they actually weren't cannon fodder. They win many invasions. It gets so bad that in order to stop him from sacking like Moscow and St. Petersburg and all the major cities actually in Russian territory, the Orthodox Russians petition the Pope to beg the Pope to make these Catholic Poles stop beating them up in a war they started.
All right, mercy, mercy, mercy.
And the Pope agrees.
Ooh,
damn.
To intercede on behalf of the Orthodox Russians. because they are losing so badly at this point.
That's
impressive and embarrassing. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I kind of get it because it might have been a way. It could have been like a Byzantine, like the Byzantine situation where, oh yeah, I'll start a crusade because it might bring in the Greek Orthodox Church under the Pope's control, and then when that didn't work out, he probably was just like, The other popes were like, yes, I could bring in the Russian Orthodox under my control now.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't so much that. It was more of just this war has been going on forever and is kind of good for no one. And it's again, there's a lot of politics behind this, but like not the least of which was Russia is a major power. Maybe having their favor is useful.
That's true.
Also, if I can negotiate a peace that is favorable to Poland, Polish-Lithuania is powerful, and their favor is useful. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes here. Bathory also establishes what is known as the Supreme Court of Appeals for both civil and criminal cases. So now, if your local court in Poland, Lithuania judges that you have done something wrong, you can now go to a national court and have your case heard.
Oh.
Yeah, he invests in the laws. He founds the University of Vilnius in 1579, which becomes the first institute of higher learning in all of Lithuania. He also decentralizes the government. He gives minorities what are known as independent jurisdictions. This is primarily to the Cossack people in Ukraine and to the Jewish population scattered throughout Poland, Lithuania. This eases the burden of the central government because it allows the local peoples to make local laws suited to them. It allows them to handle the collection of their own taxes, and it allows them to more or less affect military recruitment. A lot of these independent jurisdictions were given in exchange for being the army forever.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Which is great. They collect the taxes for you. They take all the headache of governing the province for you. And when war happens, they're on the front lines, and you're not.
That's true, yeah.
Yep. Unfortunately, Bathory dies. And we get Sigismund III Vasa, who rules from 1587 to 1632. Now, this guy, he's got a nice long reign. He's on the throne for 45 years.
Dang.
Unfortunately, he is the son of John III of Sweden, one of the original candidates to take over after Sigismund II. And John III's wife, Catherine, daughter of Sigismund II, meaning he is technically the grandson of Sigismund II. You can see where we're choosing our candidates from at this point.
Yeah, kinda.
Sigismund Vasa here is the rule of missed opportunities. He fails to capitalize on both the 30 Years' War, which all the Germanic states to the west of him are plunged into, and on the collapse of the Russian Tsardom in Moscow. Russia goes into a period of civil war during his time in office. They kind of collapse in on themselves. So both of his powerful neighbors are fighting, multi-year civil wars, and he does nothing.
Hey, you gotta let them duke it out themselves and pick up the ashes,
Yep.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Yep. Yeah. The reasons why are fairly simple. Number one, the nobility really did not like having a central government, and so they fought him tooth and nail anytime he tried to do anything, because his predecessor had gotten things done by basically giving everyone power, and that kind of left nothing for Vasa here to really wield to get people to do what he wanted. He didn't have any more goodies to give folks. The other issue is that Siggy 3 here is Swedish.
Oh no, no.
You hate to see it.
And he believes that just as via his mother Catherine is he the rightful ruler of Poland-Lithuania, but via his father John III, he is the rightful ruler of Sweden. Thus begins where he declares war.
Poland?
He attacks the only neighbor that has any semblance of a functioning government. It's just downhill from there.
I mean, I kind of get it, you know, trying to gain support through war, but
damn.
He could have undone Maximilian II and taken over the Holy Roman Empire. He could have undone his predecessor and taken Moscow. And instead he proceeds to fight Sweden, which at this time is pretty cohesive. It's big.
Yeah, didn't Sweden just get out of like the Kalmar Union not that long beforehand?
I think so. You know, I don't know who is currently on the throne of Sweden at this time. But Sweden is heading for Charles the Great of Sweden, so they are kind of ramping up their golden age.
Yeah.
It's not a good time to fight them. The other issue is that Sigismund is not interested in practically running Poland-Lithuania. He is, however, interested in converting it. He is what is known as a fanatic. Specifically, a fanatic Catholic of the inquisitorial variety.
Oh. You shall
That's
convert.
right. Python makes a joke that undercuts hundreds of years of horrors and tragedy.
So instead of
Not
the
the
Spanish
Spanish
Inquisition, it's the Swedish.
Oh no, the Swedish Inquisition. You shall purchase flat pack furniture and convert to fanatical Catholicism.
Yeah.
It is Catholic in IKEA or bust.
Yeah. Yeah. Poland-Lithuania had been a very religious, tolerant state up till this man. Also, he uses religion to justify his wars in Sweden, as the current king of Sweden is not Catholic.
Oh.
There you go. Religious justification. Well, we clearly need a Catholic king on the throne.
Yeah. He goes so far as to conspire to secretly sell the throne to an Austrian archduke in exchange for help taking back the throne of Sweden.
Damn.
This is exposed in 1592 under the Diet of Inquisition, and it severely damages the monarchy in Poland-Lithuania. But we don't have time to get into all of that horrors. Because he does something else. 4 years after the Diet of Inquisition, he does not learn anything, and he forms what is the Uniate Church in 1596. It's now known as the Eastern Rite Church. And what this was it allowed Eastern Orthodox Christians in Poland-Lithuania to keep their traditions, their Eastern rites, provided they acknowledged the supremacy of the Pope in Rome. They agreed to this, and it's been going pretty okay over there ever since, as you know, neither the Orthodox nor the Catholics can really say boo about it, because they practice like Orthodox, but they acknowledge Rome. They've checked both boxes.
Yeah, they did.
It's actually kind of scary how effective this was. It also means that Lithuania is no longer in the religious orbit of Moscow. This causes problems for Russia later on.
Naturally, Russia never likes that.
Russia gets pissed about this.
Of course they do.
It also technically unifies the nation's main religions of Catholicism and Orthodoxy. It also kickstarts a Ukrainian nationalist movement.
Ah, there it
Oh,
is.
yay. Slava Ukraina.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When Ukraine is Polish, it's like, no, we are Ukraine.
Always has been. Always will
Yeah.
be.
Austria backs this movement, but that's all we get to say about that for now. It's going to come up later and really screws with people. It's hilarious. Um, this brings us to Władysław IV Vasa. He rules from 1632 to 1648. He is the son of Sigismund III, and he is elected because he is extremely popular for being the first king in about 60 years to be Polish.
Ooh, unique.
Like, actually born in Poland, Polish.
One of us. One of us.
Oh.
He also is the military success behind most of his father's wars. All of his father's wars end in disaster, but little Władysław here is the one militarily successful general.
Well, someone has to be, I guess.
Yeah. He proceeds to succeed in military endeavors against both Russia and Sweden during his rule. He reintroduces religious tolerance, and he spends a lot of his time putting down internal struggles. Namely, the big issues for him are that the landed gentry want Eastern territory, namely Russia and Turkey. They want Crimea. They want Muscovy. They want these nice open lands to the east of them. The Cossacks, which are basically Ukraine at this point, don't really want to listen to anyone on account of the fact that they're Cossacks and they're wondering what their place in all this is.
I can't blame him there.
Yep.
I
And
don't
so
blame him.
he's kind of in a catch-22. He can't press westward because the landed gentry won't support him if he goes that way. He can't press eastward because the Cossacks are kind of holding a grudge for that whole religious persecution thing his father did, and won't budge eastward against their ethnic neighbors in Russia. The Cossacks kind of came over the border there. They were steppe people, and they traveled from the Eurasian steppes to settle into Ukraine. So they feel a bit more kinship with the people east of them than they do with the people north of them.
Damn.
And when push comes to shove, the Cossacks go into a open rebellion.
Oh, is this? Yeah, this is the. This is one of the. There's quite a few rebellions in this area,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's quite a few. This is a fairly successful one. They have backing by the Turkish sultans and the Crimean Tatars. And Tatars, yeah. Tatars. And the Cossack attack is only held off at Lviv. They threaten to overwhelm and just basically take over Poland-Lithuania. If not for the...
Lviv.
Yeah, Lviv. If not for the next man who would be king. John II Casimir Vasa rules from 1648 to 1668. He was Władysław IV's brother and a Catholic cardinal. He ascends the throne, and as soon as he gets on the throne, the Cossacks, whose attack has been stopped at Lviv, because there's in part because they are militarily defeated, and in part because there's a change in head of state and they're waiting to see who it is. They realize it's another Catholic religious guy. Go, oh hell no, and immediately start attacking again. Because they all remember Siggy 3.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, we're not doing round 2. Hostilities end shortly thereafter in the Compact of Zabrau in 1649. Ukraine becomes an independent princedom under Bohdan Khmelnytsky. I cannot say that name. Anyone else want to try?
I'm bad. I'm still trying to do Latin
That is
pronunciation. I don't think.
Bohdan Khmelnytsky.
Yeah, there. That's as close as
Khmelnytsky.
no. Just Google Bohdan, Prince of Ukraine. Yeah, he establishes that Orthodox Ukrainian territories can only be ruled by Orthodox gentry, meaning that there is no more of this Catholic kings coming in, putting Catholic nobles in charge, and abusing the hell out of the Cossacks, which is what Siggy III liked to do. Fun facts.
Oh, well.
We are skipping over so much, but like it comes back up in later things. Like everything is just a constant pendulum swing in a Newton's cradle here.
Foreshadowing, foreshadowing, foreshadowing.
Now, John II here invades Ukraine and retakes it in 1651 when Bohdan here gets betrayed by his followers, because it turns out that leading a revolution and ruling a people are not the same thing.
A lesson learned in time for a lot of people, to be fair.
Yeah. And his people, who love him as a military leader and as a revolutionary, hate him when it comes to deciding things like tax policies.
What do you mean I now have to pay tax? I didn't vote for you.
Now, Russia takes this as a cue to realize that, hey, the Polish-Lithuanians are fighting themselves. This massive state to the west of me might be weakened. So in 1654, they launched the 13 Years' War, an attempt to invade the thing. They successfully take Vilnius and most of Lithuania. And then Charles X of Sweden invades to take control of the Baltic states in 1655. John II flees Poland-Lithuania, and that's when the people actually save their king.
Wow.
The Polish-Lithuanians, who have spent the better part of the last 20 years fighting the Cossacks for the right to be Polish-Lithuanian and also rule Ukraine, rise up against the Russians and the Swedes and kick them out.
We hate each other, but we hate those assholes even more.
Meanwhile, John II returns from Austria with the Austrian army and joins with his people.
There we go.
Yeah, as they form a league against Russia and Sweden. And this leads to a series of peaces, namely the Treaty of Welewa in 1657 and the Peace of Olawa in 1660, which takes Sweden out of the war. John II cedes northern Livonia and his claim to the Swedish crown. Oh, thank God, are we still pursuing that? As well as what is known as Ducal Prussia to Sweden. And Sweden basically backs off, having gotten the border territories and some nice imperialistic goodies out of the bag. Namely, the guarantee that Polish-Lithuania can no longer invade them because they were like once descended from one of its kings.
I mean, I guess, you'd think they wouldn't.
Yeah, so like Sweden's the real winner in this war. Sweden is the real winner here. Then the Truce of Andrukskow in 1667 ends the war with Russia, and despite being called a truce, it is actually one of the most enduring pieces in history. This one is going to last for a long, long time. Russia concedes some of its territorial gains, but seizes control of Kiev from the Cossacks.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Boo.
The truce here splits the Cossack people between Russia and Poland-Lithuania. And that's where shit's gonna get real later on. Because everything comes to something else later on. The next thing that happens is the Liberum Veto. Basically, Polish-Lithuania has been at war with itself and Sweden and Russia and itself near constantly since, about 100 years prior.
Oops.
Maybe a little less than, more like 50 to 80. But there's a need to change how things are run. So they form a they reform their constitution. And they reform it to say that a unanimous vote is required to pass a law. This is done on the grounds that all members of the governing body are equals, all members of the gentry are equals, and therefore any one of them should have the right to say no to something. This also means that only a unanimous decision can allow the government to do anything. And I mean anything.
Oh no. That's...
Yeah, it's gonna get real bad now.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. It is first invoked in 1652, and it proceeds to regularly paralyze the nation, as during this time the European world is being divided into the political spheres of the French Bourbons and the Austrian Habsburgs, both of which have supporters in Poland, Lithuania. Also, Russia exists, but they're not quite important right now. They're at peace. We come now to the reign of Michael Wisniewicki, who rules from 1669 to 1673. He's one of the only people on this list that doesn't get a number. Like the man who, Władysław, he is a native Pole, and also a little like Władysław, he's elected on the merits of his father, who is like the most powerful landowner in the entire country. However, he is not like his predecessors. He's not a powerful leader in his own right. He has no military acclaim. He has no political savvy. He becomes a puppet king of the Habsburgs more or less instantaneously, and proceeds to lose all of Polish Ukraine to the Turkish people in 1672. Polish Ukraine is won back in 1673 by his Bourbon-backed rival, John Sobieski, who proceeds to take the throne as John III in 1674. Johnny III here rules from 74 to 96. He's a military general backed by France, and he more or less lets France heavily influence Polish-Lithuanian policy, much like his predecessor had done for the Austrians.
So, like, obviously the Austrians meddle a lot within, like, the Holy Roman Empire, because, they're often emperor, but like, no one really talks about France meddling in, like, literally everyone else's affairs.
France was the UK before the UK became the UK. And that's saying a lot. France was the assholes who
They're
got
the UK
involved
of
with
Central Europe.
Yeah,
Eastern Europe
they
too,
got
I guess.
involved in so much politics and so many external affairs, but they did so intentionally, and that's the fucked up part.
Yeah. A lot of times they're doing so because the Austrians are better at propagating than they are, and are in danger of putting people on the thrones of basically every crown in Europe,
Okay,
except
but the
France.
Habsburgs were also super, super inbred.
Yeah.
The only way they could have been more inbred is if they were a fucking ham sandwich.
Yeah. But here's the beauty of it. They had legitimate people with legitimate claims to thrones of Spain and Poland and like everyone else. And the French were constantly trying to stop that from happening, namely by starting wars and killing off all the Habsburg descendants.
Which they were effective with, I'll give them that.
Yeah, they were good at that. Uh, Unfortunately for Johnny III, his dealings with France really turned the people against them, as being backed by the Habsburgs is slightly more popular than being backed by the Bourbons. Um, However, Sobieski is a capable military general. He leads the relief of the siege of Vienna in 1683, and he forces the Turks back. His victory actually at Vienna marks the beginning of the Turkish withdrawal in Europe. It is
Wait,
Poland-Lithuania that starts the decline of Turkey.
wait, is this the one with the 5,000 winged hussars?
Uh, Maybe. I
Because
do.
like,
There's a
because the
lot
siege of
there.
Vienna.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. This could be it. This does mark the beginning of the decline of the Ottoman Empire. Is
Oh,
siege?
oh shit!
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
that's
we got our
right.
Sabaton reference, guys.
Poland caused the decline of the Ottoman Empire. Fun fact. Take that, everyone.
You know,
Poland
and yet somehow I
started it.
respect Poland just a little bit more now.
Yeah, Poland
Because they
started.
fucked with the Ottoman.
It takes
Yeah,
balls. It takes a lot of balls to fuck with the Ottomans. I respect
I
it.
mean, you get like it was 5,000. I believe it was 5,000 winged hussars and a fuck ton of janissaries. It was like outnumbered. Like I think they were outnumbered. Like the hussars by themselves by like I think maybe like 2 to 1 or something like that. It might have been a lot more, but I just know like Vienna was very much like this close to falling, and these hussars just carved up the Ottoman janissaries, and
yeah,
just it's such a wild. It's just a wild siege. I mean, I don't like the Austrians. I don't really like the Ottomans. I don't like authoritarian,
yeah,
governments. But like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a wild moment.
yeah. And I do believe this is in fact that very siege that you are referencing. This is that siege. Um, on the downside, though, Johnny III does have to formally cede Kiev to Russia in 1686. Now, what had been supposed to happen was that Russia was supposed to return Kiev to Poland-Lithuania in 1669. However, they just simply never removed their troops. It was supposed to be a temporary protectorate of Russia, and it was meant to allow the Russians time to haul their massive army and their massive economic investment out of the region. However, it's Russia. They never left.
Yeah, that sounds about
And
right.
and so to avoid another war, he concedes that Kiev now belongs to Russia. Fun fact, no.
It didn't before, and it doesn't now.
Yeah. Uh, Next is Augustus II, one of the few people on this list to not get a extra bonus name. Uh, he rules from 1697 to 1733. Now, when John III dies, 18 candidates come to Warsaw to claim the throne. 18 candidates are put forth for who should be his successor.
God damn.
Augustus wins because he arrived late and thus had all of his bribe money ready to go after everyone had already spent theirs, which meant that anyone who voted for him could get some extra cash on top of whatever anyone else had already paid them. Yeah, so he buys the throne the same way Henry did all the way back at the start of this thing. We're coming full circle, guys.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah. And his first act was to find his French rival, the person that the French were backing the most, and immediately send him into exile because he's not having any more of this Habsburg Bourbon bullshit. It's just going to be Habsburg from here on out.
It's a great way to make enemies.
Yeah. Surprisingly, doesn't backfire. The Russian influence in Poland-Lithuania grows thanks to the success of Peter the Great, who is currently in charge of Russia. And the fact that Russia is like steadily invading Ukraine for the last like 40 years. He concludes the Turkish War of 1683 to 1699 with the Treaty of Karlowitz. Basically, any Polish territory occupied by the Turks or the Ottomans is returned to Poland, and Turkey can go back to its pre-war borders, which is a pretty decent deal for Turkey. Just gonna say.
I mean, pre-war borders, and that's about it. Yeah, I think they got off easy.
Yeah. Then, in 1700, he makes a fatal mistake. He is buddies with a man known as Peter the Great of Russia. Oh. And at this time, also buddies with this man is the Kingdom of Denmark. And just to the north of Poland, Lithuania, is their old frenemy, Sweden, who has recently seen a 15-year-old boy by the name of Charles XII the Great ascend to the throne. Peter the Great looks at this child, thinks, we can take him, and gets Denmark and Poland-Lithuania to join him in a league war against Sweden, starting the Second Northern War, 1700 to 1721. Charles XII kicks all their asses single-handedly.
I forgot that man. I forgot about that man. That man came out of the womb ready to fight all of them.
Yeah. He ascends the throne at the age of 15, and, he ascended 15 years late.
God damn.
Now, props to Peter the Great to be still known as the Great after getting your ass whooped in a 20-year war. Denmark and Poland, not so lucky. Basically, everyone treats Poland as their personal battleground, and Poland is treated as if it doesn't exist. The Danes plunder it, the Swedes plunder it, and the Russians plunder it.
They cannot catch a break.
Everyone pillages their land, and what's more is Poland-Lithuania goes into a borderline civil war. Because fun fact, the Poles support Augustus, and the Lithuanians actually like Charles better. Damn. Charles XII is more popular in Lithuania than Augustus is. Because Augustus's closest ally, the Russians, keep looting Lithuania.
I mean, that's kind of understandable.
Yeah, I don't blame them exactly.
Yeah. So, basically, the Polish people end up being split between Augustus II and Stanislaw I, because about 4 years into this war, a man named Stanislaw is installed as a Swedish puppet by Charles XII on the Polish throne. He ruled as a puppet from 1704 to 1709. He technically doesn't count because Augustus II is leading the Polish-Lithuanian military and has the crown of Poland-Lithuania on his head during the entirety of Stanislaw's rule.
Semantics, really.
Yeah. Things get so bad that even in the post-war era for this, plans are made to divide Poland between Prussia, Russia, and Austria. However, Augustus II dies in 1733, which puts a stop to these plans with the ascension of Augustus III, who is elected in 1733 and rules to 1763. Now, Augustus III is an illegitimate king. Officially, what happens is Stanislaw I, the Swedish puppet, is re-elected king. formally becoming Stanislaw I, King of Poland-Lithuania. He is able to do this because he marries King Louis the 15th of France's mother.
What? Going after the MILFs in the chat. Let's go.
Between becoming Charles the Great's puppet king of Poland-Lithuania, he is able to leverage that into becoming the father-in-law of the King of France.
I'm your new daddy, boy.
And the King of France is all too happy to sandwich the fricking Habsburg between France and Poland.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense, but god damn.
However, Lithuania says hell no to this guy and does what they do best, which is call for military intervention from someone who just sacked you. They invite the Russian army to Warsaw. Something you should never do.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And thus begins the War of Polish Succession, 1733 to 1738. The Russian army arrives at Warsaw, forces the election of Augustus III. The Poles basically fight the Russians for about 5 years before conceding. After this, Augustus III rules exclusively through his minister, Heinrich von Brühl. And just like his king, Heinrich has absolutely no interest in running the country. So
why do they keep taking these people?
So Mr. von Brühl here, outsources the government to the Czartoryski family. Czartoryski family. And the court of Dresden. Now this is a powerful family. And the court of Dresden is a highly respected conglomerate of nobility. And they're going to rule the country like a mob family for the next couple years.
What in the world?
They attempt to reform the government for the better, actually, by removing the liberum veto and allowing the government to do things. This fails. And they attempt to form a standing army of Poland-Lithuania. This also fails. So the government is left without a standing army and without an effective legislature.
That's a great recipe for success.
Yep. Cue in Stanislaw II August Poniatowski, who rules 1764 to 1795. The foreign powers stop pretending at this point, and they just openly elect the King of Poland with Stanislaw II here.
Wait. They just all got together and said, yeah, no, it's like, we know what's going on, right?
What it is there's correspondence between Frederick the Great of Prussia and Catherine the Great of Russia debating who should become king of Poland-Lithuania. And the man they settle on is Stanislaw II.
Oh,
and they basically Frederick suggests him, Catherine says go for it, Frederick puts him in charge.
God damn.
The Czartoryskis see what's happening, start a coup, and they basically like throw out the Constitution, say, we're in charge now, I'm not working for a puppet government. And they get annihilated.
At least they stood up for what they believed in, right?
Because the puppet state is backed by Prussia and Russia, under two of their greatest leaders.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, man.
It's just bad timing, unfortunately. Stanislaw II is crowned by Russian troops. And right there, Russia immediately turns on him.
Naturally. Why would they?
they send a man named Nikolai Repnin to undermine Poland-Lithuania the same year they crown Stanislaw.
Was he too
what
powerful for
Repnin
them?
does-
Were they just like, yo, this guy? No, we got to get him out.
What it is Russia continues to covet the part of Poland-Lithuania that is Lithuania. And so what they do is they have Repnin come in, and Repnin forms an organization where he claims to be this foreigner who has come to Poland to speak on behalf of the religious minorities who are so horribly oppressed by this halfway tolerant state.
Help, I'm being repressed. I'm being repressed.
Yeah. Now, he claims to speak for the 9% of the population that is not Catholic or Orthodox. About 1 million people out of 11 million.
Oh.
Sizable, but not as sizable.
Yeah. He forms a 1767 confederation to petition the Russian government to guarantee the political liberties of these poor, oppressed minorities.
You must be desperate if you're under Russia.
He's Russian.
Oh,
He's a Russian spy. He's a Russian spy planted there by Russia. He is literally the Russian ambassador. And what this does is it gives Russia, through Repnin, an excuse to treat Poland-Lithuania like a Russian vassal state and places Poland-Lithuania under the protection of Russia, meaning no one can do anything to intercede on the behalf of Poland-Lithuania, and Poland-Lithuania can't do anything of its own accord unless Russia says it's okay. Also known as, you are a free and independent people according to Russia.
Yeah. You are free. You are free. Do you have rights? No. But you are free.
Yes, you are free. You are free to join anyone who disagrees with me in the grave.
In the gulag. Off to the gulag for you. You speak negative of the motherland.
Yeah. Now, this leads to what is known as the Confederation of Bar, which is a feeble Catholic uprising from 1768 to 1772. It's a well-intended attempt. However, militarily, it is pathetic.
Oof.
What it does achieve was it gets Russian troops to chase Polish rebels into the Ottoman territories, prompting the Ottoman Turks to go, did Russia just invade us?
I mean, that's fair.
Yes.
That's a fair question to ask.
And to be fair, the direction they're fleeing is like into Crimea. So what the European powers do is they decide they're going to partition Poland to avoid starting a war. And you'd think,
hey, wait, that sounds really familiar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where do you think it got start?
And you'd think that the people involved in this would be, I don't know, the Ottoman Turks, who are like, did we just get invaded? No, they're not invited to the table. Instead, it is the Russians, big surprise there, the Austrians, and the Prussians.
Huh.
And they proceed to do this 3 times over about 20 years.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah. First partition is 1772, which sees, basically all 3 of them take a chunk. Then in 1793, they decide to do it again because from 1778 to 1791, there's something known as the 4-year Sejm, which basically the Parliament of Poland-Lithuania convened, declared itself the governing authority of Poland, and wrote a new constitution. One which did not include the Liberium veto, and which did include safeguards against foreign meddling. So Russia and Prussia proceed to, Russia invades, and Prussia and Russia divided up. Poland's not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
I ain't dead yet.
A Polish nationalist uprising occurs in Leipzig. And this basically says, okay, the powers look at this and go, okay, you're noisy and you're in our way. We're just gonna make you not exist anymore. The uprising begins in 1793. It's put down in 1794. And then from 1795 to 1797, Austria, Prussia, and Russia carve up the last of Poland. In something that is going to be horribly repeated in about 150 years.
Oh, no. Poor Poland, man.
And thus Poland-Lithuania ceases to exist. Both Lithuania and Poland will return at a later time for their reboot sequels as independent countries. However, they will never be joined again. And that ends the absolute roller coaster ride of people who should not be in charge of a country that probably shouldn't have existed, given what it chose to do. No one made a single good decision.
Not a single one. You couldn't argue a single good decision.
Like, I will say right here, both Poland and Lithuania deserve their sovereignty and deserve to exist. They did not deserve to be treated as a single entity.
But just makes accounting and bureaucracy easy.
This is why you don't let a bunch of rich people who claim their authority comes from God to rule a country, because once they have all the downtime, they're just doing things for shits and giggles.
Oh, man.
Honestly, this whole thing could have been avoided if Sigismund II was not as forward-thinking as he was, and just decided that he was going to live forever until he kicked it, and then let all of his daughter's husbands fight to the death over the throne. It's not a peaceful way, but it is tradition.
It's tradition.
And that's a beautiful point for us to wrap up for today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like down below. And comment if there's a topic you'd like us to cover. And we'll see you in the next one.